All right, so we're gonna just ignore Craig and get on
Mm-hmm.
with the podcast. Pretend
All
like
right.
he's not here.
Okay. Who's here?
Exactly. I'm
Okay.
here. I am the Grumpy Dungeon Master Jay,
And I'm Grumpy Dungeon Master Christopher.
and honestly, I'm not that grumpy this week. I
Um.
haven't I haven't really found too much to complain about.
Oh, I got a lot to complain about, but it's mostly internal.
I'm talking as far as Dungeons and Dragons is concerned.
Same.
All right, then. That was a great podcast.
Yep. We'll see you guys tomorrow. um. No,
We're
let's go
not.
over some good stuff first.
Yeah,
And
there's plenty of good stuff this week.
good stuff. Good stuff. First and foremost, new Unearthed Arcana, and it's all giant options. And when I saw this, I did the whole reaction and everything. I'm extremely excited, and I really hope that they keep going down this route. I don't know where this would come out in, unless it's going to be out in like a Spelljammer or something, but I don't think so. But I don't know what product this would be in.
Yeah,
But essentially,
that was my first thought on it. Where does
yeah,
this release? It's not going to be in Spelljammer, and it's not going to be in Dragonlance.
no. Essentially, they have 3 new subclass options: one for the Barbarian, Druid, and Wizard, and they have a bunch of feats. Essentially, it could all boil down to each of those classes now have a way to get bigger and do giant related things. And this is very similar to the Rune Knight that came out for the fighter, because the Rune Knight fighter could activate runes, and they would let him do stuff, and he could get bigger and smash things. He couldn't get huge, I don't believe, or maybe it could. I'll look it up here. But all in all, every subclass is amazing in some way, shape, or form. My favorite is the Barbarian.
That is your opinion.
My favorite is the Barbarian, which essentially just you become a bigger, badder Barbarian, and you can do the fastball special. Who doesn't want to do the fastball special?
Yeah, that is the best thing. The fact
Yeah,
that I could literally just pick up the rogue and chuck him at the enemy, even if he doesn't want me to.
yeah, great.
Hmm.
The Druid one is great too. Not my style of play.
It's not great.
Uh, I mean, not my style of play. I think it is great because it gives another pet class out there. A lot of people like pet classes.
Yeah,
Again,
but
not for me, but
it's literally just a druid with a ranger pet.
yeah,
Like, why?
it. But the pet can become huge. And then the wizard's
Yeah,
probably the
whatever.
weakest of all. Uh,
No.
but I really like the rune. They call it a rune crafter, and I like him using runes. Well, I think there needs to be more rune abilities in that one, which we'll kind of get to when we review it a little bit more in depth. I do like that it's kind of like almost a wizard getting something like the meta magic in a little bit of kind of way, but giving it kind of this runic flair, which really isn't giant, but it does, giants and runes are always very often tied together. So,
Yeah, but they could have just said, "Oh, these are dwarven runes," and you get the same damn thing.
yeah.
It's
Yeah, so it's the least gianty of the bunch, but I can kind of see why it's there, at least in this thing.
Yeah, I
Uh,
mean, they're tying it in with the Giants. Literally, they could have tied it in with anything, but
yeah. On the feats, basically, there are a bunch of new feats. We'll go over those in a little more detail. There's a really cool feat path that they have called a rune carver. Um, so I'm going to let you then, since I'm just super excited and you're only going to get positive results from me, I'm going to let you be the grumpy one
okay,
and kind of give us the 10-mile view and let us know what you don't like, because that's what
okay,
we're all about.
yeah. I mean, I have to find something to complain about, and even I don't really think of it as complaining, but I I will always try my damnedest to be the negative Nancy
Mm-hmm.
when looking at new stuff coming out, just because somebody needs to. The barbarian. Let's start with the path of the giant for the barbarian. since that's the top one on the list. For the most part, I didn't have too many issues with it. And if you want, I can go over each individual thing that he gets. I mean, there's only 5 of them.
Yeah, yeah, it's subclasses, so there's not much. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So the first one you get at 3rd level when you take this prestige class is Giant Power. You learn to speak, read, and write Giant or one other language of your choice if you already know Giant. Additionally, you learn either the Druid Craft or Thaumaturgy Cantrip using Wisdom as the spellcasting modifier. I
I
have
think
no idea what that's about.
I think I'm with you there. Like I honestly don't know why they gave him Druidcraft or Thaumaturgy, other than like they needed to add something else to this giant power thing, and that's all they could think of.
Yeah, my guess is that gets changed. It doesn't fit. It doesn't seem to have a purpose.
No, but the problem is because it's barbarian. Like you can't give them more bonuses to strength, you know,
I mean, why not?
because you're probably already going strength to begin with, and you already
uh,
get advantage on strength checks.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So the other one you get at 3rd level is Giant's Havoc. Your rages pull strength from the primal might of giants, transforming you into a hulking force of destruction. While raging, you gain the following benefits: Crushing Hurl. When you make a successful ranged attack with a thrown weapon using strength, you can add your rage damage bonus to the attack's damage roll, which normally it's only for melee.
right.
And then Giant Stature, your reach increases by 5 feet, and if you are smaller than large, you become large, along with anything you are wearing. So, yeah, like, that's fine, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean that's equivalent to the Rune Knight at that
Yeah,
level.
yeah,
The best part about that is too is like if you're a bugbear barbarian, your reach is now 15 feet.
yeah, yeah, yep. And
Uh,
yeah, and later on it gets even more. Uh,
and really, because your die is going from medium to large, it's almost an increase of 10 feet in a way.
then you use a pole arm.
Uh-huh.
So Elemental Cleaver is the level 6th one. You bond with the elemental minds of giants and their ilk grows, and you learn to infuse weapons with primordial energy. This one I do have a problem with.
Hmm.
When you enter your rage, you can infuse one weapon of your choice that you're holding with one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, thunder, or lightning. While you wield the infused weapon during your rage, the weapon's damage type changes to the chosen type. It deals an extra 1d6 damage of the chosen type when it hits, and it gains the thrown property with a normal range of 20 feet and a long range of 60. If you throw the weapon, it reappears in your hand the instant after it hits or misses a target. The infused weapon's benefits are suppressed if anybody else tries to use it. Uh, while raging and holding the weapon, you can use a bonus action to change the damage type to a different one. I
Yeah.
this is where it gets weird for me. I
Hmm.
understand that giants like to throw rocks, and I get that, but at the same time, barbarians as a ranged class, it's kind of weird for me. As well as adding a d6 on top of the 2d6 that your throwing greatsword now does. You're looking at 3d6 on every attack, plus your strength bonus, plus your rage bonus.
Yeah.
I it seems weird, but that extra d6 of damage puts this above and beyond the damage output for other barbarian subtypes.
I mean, it's an extra d6, and that's a lot, especially if you're wielding a two-hander.
Hmm.
Um, and you most likely, if you're playing a barbarian, you pretty much are.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, almost
the
certainly. It'd be weird
the
if you weren't.
throne the throne property like that feels a little weird to me because giants are known for throwing boulders, but that's like hill giants, stone giants.
Yeah,
Uh, I don't really focus that heavily on the throne property. I'm not going to become a ranged person. I'm still going to be engaging in melee and swinging my sword.
that's you though.
Eh,
The barbarian class is not. It's not intended to be a ranged class. But with this, you could play it that way. You already have extra movement. Take a level of monk. Oh, there's more movement. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
your barbarian who isn't meleeing. He's just throwing things for lots of damage.
Yeah.
Then if you ever manage to get your hand on, say, like a weapon that also deals fire damage or acid damage or something, another D6 on top of that, like you could be doing an absolutely ridiculous amount of damage.
I mean, you could throw javelins all day with this thing, you know.
Yeah, but who's going to throw a javelin when you can throw a
You could throw a
two-handed
great
sword?
sword, yeah. So I mean that's definitely an issue. But like I said, when I read it, I focused more just on the elemental damage and the extra d6,
Hmm.
and the throne thing for me is just more of an optional thing because more than likely, if I'm a barbarian, I'm kind of the off tank or off damage absorber and a damage dealer. You know, I'm trying to still get engaged with the enemy and make sure they don't get anywhere. So I personally wouldn't play it just throwing a greatsword everywhere. You know,
Yeah,
I'm still getting the same damage whether I throw it or not. You
yeah,
know,
that doesn't really change anything. I'm just saying it provides the ability to play the barbarian in a way it's not intended to be played.
but now I can
Uh,
jump straight up into the air with my advantage on strength and athletics checks and jump super high and then chuck my sword at a dragon.
well, if you take one of the feats, you could fly up there. We'll get to that later, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I just thought it was kind of weird. Well, I'd have to test it, see it in play, see how broke if or how powerful it is. I don't think it's broken. I just think it's doesn't quite fit. Next one, 10th level Mighty Impel. I don't know what an impel is. Impel, but that's what
It's a
they call
prison
it.
in One Piece.
Okay then. Your connection to giant strength now allows you to hurl both allies and enemies on the battlefield. As a bonus action while raging, you can choose one medium or smaller creature within your reach and move it to an unoccupied space you can see within 30 feet of yourself. An unwilling creature must succeed on a strength save to avoid the effect. If at the end of this movement the thrown creature isn't on a surface or liquid that can support it, the creature falls, taking damage as normal and landing prone. I love it. Yeah, the fact that I can just now pick up guys and chuck them off a cliff, 30 feet away. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that I will say any DMs who are running a game with that in the game, yeah, you really need to think about your battlefield before you do this, before you start anything with that, because your big bad evil guy might just get chucked off the cliff and die.
I mean, probably not.
If they have legendary saves, sure, but I if they don't, man, they're fair game. Fair game.
Yeah, you're still capped at 20d6. That's not gonna.
I mean, look, I'm talking if you're eighth, CR8 monster. Yeah, that's the 20d6 is probably going to kill that. Yeah, sure. At the highest levels, that's less of an issue, but early on, I mean, this is well. To be fair, this does start at 10th level, but even at
Yeah.
10th level, if you do some damage to the guy and then chuck him off, anyway,
Yeah. Falling damage and Dungeons and Dragons to me is just it's not worth the amount of effort to try to make it happen. Now, if I could throw somebody into lava, so they take falling damage and then lava damage, then that would be something, or
yeah.
a river or something. You know, that kind
Well,
of works. But barbarians can survive a fall of 1,000 feet. It doesn't matter to them. So it's
so yeah,
actually a good example is I don't know if I brought this up yet or not, but like my wife pushed a Duragar off a cliff.
mhm,
He fell 20 feet, 2d6 damage.
right.
If I fell off a cliff that's 20 feet high and landed prone on the ground, my bones would be broken. I'd be bleeding out
Oh
of
God,
my
yeah,
lungs
yeah, yeah.
somehow. Like falling damage needs to kind of get a bump up a little bit. Like you don't want to kill the players, and I get that from falling. But if you fall into a 10-foot pit, if you don't land right, your leg's broken. You know,
Yep.
it just
Dungeons
falling
and
in D&D
Dragons does
sucks.
at least third, fourth, fifth editions. They don't have any charts for specific types of damage. Second edition had variant rules where you could have, he gets a broken arm, he gets a broken leg, etc. I know you used to do something like that in fourth edition, but
Yeah, I did it in fifth too. Yeah,
the problem with this, while you might think that falling 20 feet isn't that big of a deal as far as damage wise, one, this is done as a bonus action. So it's not even taking your turn to do it. Two, it can absolutely alter how a combat goes. And mind you, I don't think this is broken by any means, but it's
no,
something that you have to think about as a DM when planning out encounters. Uh,
yeah, you
if
throw a guy off a cliff, that's just an enemy gone from the encounter.
Yeah, yeah, or even even if they're only out of it for a round, well, you used a bonus action to completely remove somebody from combat for a turn.
Yeah, I was focused more on the damage, not the tactical advantage of removing somebody from the combat. Like, yeah, from that perspective, it is super great. But I don't know. As a barbarian, I'm trying to kill people. I keep throwing them off of cliffs, and they keep living, and I don't know why.
Just hit them; you'll do more.
And I can hit them harder. Well, I can hit them
Uh,
really hard and then throw them, I guess. If
yeah,
you're
yeah,
right.
that's what you do. You hit them and then you throw them because it's a bonus
Or
action.
or you do the bonus action first, throw them off the cliff, and then throw your weapon at them.
Yes, there. See, now you're thinking with thrown
Now I'm
weapons.
thinking with thrown weapons.
All right, Demiurgic Colossus. This is the level 14 one. The primordial power of your rage intensifies. When you rage, you can your reach now increases by 10 feet. So if your bugbear is now 15 with a pole arm is 20. Your size can increase to huge, and you can now use your mighty impel to move creatures that are large or smaller. In addition, the extra damage dealt by your elemental cleaver feature increases to 2d6.
Like it. I like
Eh,
it.
that's honestly, I feel that's the one that finally puts it over the top and just breaks the prestige class.
So if you compare this to the fighter class for the Rune Knight, which is the one that's already in game, and you do actually get a chance to become huge in that. When you get to level 18, you become huge. Same kind of thing, Uh, your Giant's Might feature increases to D10. Your reach increases. You become huge. The the Giant's Might is really cool. I'm not going to go over the Rune Knight stuff, but I'm just saying the Rune Knight as a whole is really good at like locking people down, stopping criticals,
Yep.
taking damage, soaking damage, and dealing damage back. And there's a lot that can be that's involved with the Rune Knight. Now, if you compare the Rune Knight to the this this spec here, the Path of the Giant, this is just damage. There's no extra flavor really, other than the fastball special, which granted is amazing, but if you're a DM, you could probably still be having a fastball special now, with a big burly barbarian, and
Yeah,
they're just saying that
there's no
all
rules
this
for
is
it,
just
but
all this is just extra damage, and that's it. So it's kind of bare bones, is what I'm trying to get at,
yeah,
compared to the Rune Knight. The Rune Knight
yeah.
is very well thought out. It's got a lot of options. It's probably like the best fighter thing next to Battlemaster, and I love it. I would definitely play a Path of the Giant Barbarian, if anything. But you have to give up Bear Totem. You'd have to give up the Elemental Barbarian. So
Well, I play the elemental barbarian, and let me tell you, it's nothing special.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying that this
Yeah,
is this is kind of bare bones too. Except if you want to be a giant, you're a giant now.
yeah, yeah. You can do that temporarily, and you can't. This would out the damage wise. This far out damages what the elemental barbarian does. Like I
Yeah,
don't get extra bonus damage.
yeah,
Not
but you get
much.
resistance to elemental
Yes, and
damage. Yeah,
I specifically am playing that one because it's a pirate campaign, and the ability to breathe underwater is just huge. So
Yeah, I mean, there's no damage reduction added to this at all. It's just how do you hit things harder?
yeah,
Oh, you get
this is
bigger and
pure
hit things
damage.
harder.
That's all it is. If you want to deal damage, that's probably the best barbarian class to play. All right, moving on. Druid, Circle of the Primeval. Something something about spirits or whatever. Uh, Keeper of Old is your second level feature. Your connection to the mighty primeval behemoths allows you new insight into the ancient world. You gain proficiency in the history skill. When you make an intelligence history check, you can roll a d4 and add the number to the ability check. Yeah, all right, whatever.
I want to say I really like that. I like the fact that they're giving you the proficiency and history,
Hmm.
and then giving you another thing on top of that.
Yeah,
Because like a lot of the skills are like, oh, you get proficiency, but if you don't already proficiency in it, you get something else. And that's cool because you're not wasting things. But at level 2, you can plan around not having history for a level,
yeah.
and then picking it up through this, and then you get that nice little bonus extra to it. It's not expertise, but this could be better than expertise.
At the lower levels, it probably will be.
Yeah.
Uh, Or at the very least, it'll be the equivalent or close. Anyway, Primeval Companion. Starting when you choose this skill, you can call upon the primeval creature whose spirit is bound to you. As an action, you can expend one use of your wild shape to summon your primeval companion rather than assuming a beast form. The companion appears in an unoccupied space of your choice within 30 feet of you. It's friendly to you and your companions, and it obeys your command. Uh,
Yeah. You don't have to read the whole thing. It's
I
essentially
won't.
it's
No, no,
it's
I'm
just like
reading. I'm reading because there's a specific part coming up I wanted to
okay.
get to. I'll just read that right now. You can determine the cosmetic appearance of the companion. For example, your companion may evoke ancient predators like raptors or saber-toothed tigers, or it might be more inclined for defense, appearing as an armored ankylosaurus or a woolly rhino. Mine, it's going to be a catapult.
It's not an animal.
Doesn't say it has to be. You can determine the cosmetic appearance of the companion. Mine's going to be it's going to be a bush, just like a rose bush. That's all.
See, I actually missed that because when I thought of the primeval companion, I missed that part of it. But when I envisioned it, I actually envisioned it kind of like swamp thing or something along those lines, just made of just like
Yeah,
vines and grass and whatnot. That's what I thought it would actually have been.
yeah, like yeah, that's an obvious thing they need to correct. Yeah,
I mean,
it's an
it could be an
oversight.
animal. It could be a wooden element. It could be even if it is a catapult. It doesn't. It says it has no effect on the companion's game statistics.
Correct. Yes, it operates. These things operate pretty much exactly in the same manner as a ranger's companion does. The stat block is listed. I am not reading all of that, but it's
No, it's
basically
it's it's the same as a summon companion spell,
yeah, it's a summon
except that
companions.
it gets a really cool reaction. The intercept attack. Um,
When a creature the companion can see hits a target with an attack, and the target is within 5 feet of the companion, the target instead takes half the damage. The companion takes the remainder of the damage.
I like that.
So, yeah, that's fine. It's a little something. Uh,
It's
l-
very clear that the primeval companion is just a tank.
yeah,
It's just there to soak up damage and be in the way.
yeah. Hit points, it gets 10 plus 5 times your druid level. So it's not going to tank for very long. AC is 13 plus, what is PB? That's
Proficiency bonus.
proficiency bonus. So its armor class is never going to be that high either.
Yeah, but you just expend one use of your wild shape, and you have a ton of those.
Yeah. Yep. So you're going to wild shape later on, and then this thing's going to take half of your damage that you're already barely taking anyway. So
Well, with the other skills, it's more. I think you just summon him, and it's there, and then you just cast all your spells through him while you hide the
yeah,
entire time.
yeah, you could do that too. That's not how most people play druids, but the vast majority of people who play druids just wild shape into things and you know, fight that way.
Now, I'll be curious if they change that because it says you can expend one use of your wild shape. It doesn't say you can't wild shape yourself, but I would add that in there. So like
No, it does. It does.
you can't wild shape all the primeval champions out.
Oh, no. You can while it's out. It's
Yeah,
just yeah, I got you.
right. I really think they should add that in and say you can't wild shape while Primeval
No, because
Champion's out.
the whole point of this thing is to have that companion. That would really hurt this class. I mean, you're burning wild shapes to even get this thing out there, and
Yeah,
you do have a limited amount. Like it's not hard to go through them all.
right. Yeah, I get that.
All right, so level 6, you learn how to channel your magic through the primeval companion. When you cast a spell with a range other than self, it can originate from your companion. This is a was a warlock trick. I think it's warlock. I know I've seen a warlock do this where you would basically just be able to cast through your familiar.
Yeah, I think that's a common thing.
Yeah. In addition, the primeval companion, if it is affected by a spell you cast that allows creatures to make a saving throw, hang on. Read that again. In addition, if the primeval companion is affected by a spell you cast that allows creatures to make a saving throw against its effects, the companion has advantage on its save. If the primeval companion would normally take half damage on a successful save against a spell, he takes no damage. So he gets evasion to fireballs or whatever you're casting.
Oh, you're not casting fireballs as the druid.
You can't. Well, I guess if you took this archetype, you couldn't. But
No, even the wildfire.
oh, that's right. They didn't.
Yeah,
That's right.
they took
That's
it
right.
away.
In the UA it
Which
had it. They took
yes,
it out when they released it. So
what this lets you do is this lets you play the same way I played through Dragon Age Origins,
hmm
where you just send the tank in, and then you just cast all your AOE spells centered on the tank.
yeah,
And then the room dies, the tank barely survives because he took all that damage, but he has high enough saves to live
yeah.
through it.
And he's taking no damage if he makes his save now.
Right. So
Titanic Bond.
I
Go
like
ahead.
it. I like it. I like it a
Yeah,
lot.
it's fine. I get it. If you're making a companion, you're dropping AOE's, you want it to live. Titanic Bond is the 10th level feature. Primeval Companion grows to large size, and when you summon it, you can grant it either a climbing or a swimming speed equal to its walking speed. In turn, the companion lends you some of its terrifying might. Once per turn, while your Primeval Companion is summoned, when you hit a creature with an attack or deal damage to a creature you can see with a spell you cast, you can force that creature to make a wisdom save against your spell save DC. On a failure, the creature is frightened until the end of your next turn.
Neat.
Uh, yeah, I think they really wanted to just give it the climbing and swimming speeds, but they realized how weak that is as a 10th level ability, so they threw this other thing on there. I don't feel like that other ability fits or matches, but I understand they needed something else on top of just giving it a different thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and the last one, the 14th level ability, Scourge of the Ancients. You have learned to fully harness the titanic legacy of your companion. As part of the bonus action you use to command your companion, you can expend a spell slot of any level to heighten your companion's might, granting it the following benefits. Uh, Hulking Behemoth. The companion becomes huge and gains temporary hit points equal to 10 times the level of the spell slot expended. If there isn't enough room for it to become huge, it attains the maximum possible size in the space available. Mauler. On a hit, the companion strike deals additional damage equal to 1d8 plus the level of the spell slot expended. And Titanic Stride. The companion's walking speed increases by a number of feet equal to 5 times the level of the spell slot expended. These benefits last for 1 hour until the companion vanishes or until you expend a spell slot for this feature again. I don't hate that. Like
Yeah, it's
that
okay.
actually makes the creature better. Like companion creatures in 5e are mostly garbage.
Yeah.
Even summons are mostly garbage. But this makes it a little better. I mean, it's still never going to be able to do the damage that anything else in this game can do, but
Right.
it'll make it more survivable. It'll have some other benefits of being able to cover ground quicker, a little
This
extra
honestly
damage.
needed to be the level 10 ability.
Probably, yeah.
And
Yeah, I would.
then there should be another one at 14 that amplifies its tanky damage or chasing down even further. Like,
Yeah, yeah,
it's really cool and I like it, but at 14th level, eh, it feels like too little too late.
yeah. Which is why I was saying this class does nothing for me. It's you're just playing a druid that gets a pet, and
Yeah, I mean,
the pet is not that good.
well, I mean, it's equivalent to the Drake Warden and all the new pet spells. It just gives a pet class to uh, another class, which is fine. I mean, a lot of people like that.
Yeah, yeah.
My wife likes to play hunters all the time. I don't know why. Now she gets a hunter as a druid.
I'm trying to think of this as far as the role playing portion of this. I love it. Like the flavor is great. I love the fact that you can summon these things up. At the same time, balance wise, this just doesn't even come close to what almost every other druid archetype is capable of.
I mean, it still gets to cast all its spells. It still gets its wild shapes. You
And that's
know,
it. It doesn't get anything else other than this
but
pet.
then on top of that, at high levels you have a AC 16 to 18 creature running around absorbing damage. How good was the Bone Widow in Divinity? They're just standing there
All right,
in the way.
that is a little different because the creatures in the video game were stupid enough to actually target it and care about it.
Right,
You
but if
know,
it's in the way,
yeah, but
what are you gonna do?
a lot of times it was not in the way. They just targeted it over
Right.
better choices.
But if you're
Uh,
going through a castle or something like that, this thing is just in the hallway blocking up, taking up space.
I
You
mean,
know.
the problem is this thing gets a single attack action. It deals 1d8.
Yeah.
Uh, uh,
That's where it needs to get fixed. It does need to get multi attack later on.
yeah, it doesn't do anything other than stand in the way.
I mean, that's what tanks do. They just stand in the way.
Yeah, but every tank class in the game can actually mess you up. You know, a
Yeah,
barbarian will fuck you up. A fighter will fuck you up. This thing is not a threat. Nobody like no any creature out there with intelligence is not going to care about this thing when they realize, oh, this thing punches with pillows.
I mean, granted, if the DM is basically gonna play it like super metagamey and like avoid the primeval champion because it's not that big of a threat, yeah, it's gonna suck and then it becomes useless. But if there were just a bunch of footmen on the field and this giant thing just popped up in front of me, they're not gonna go, oh, I'm gonna go after the casters over there, just turned into a mouse. They're gonna go, oh fuck, I better hit this thing for a little bit. Yeah, they're gonna
Yeah,
play. You should play them correctly. This thing should be there in the front lines, taking up damage, adding an extra attack for the round. It's gonna be useful, But if the DM is just gonna be mean about it and just avoid it, you
it's
know,
I don't even think it's that. I think any creature with an intelligence of 10, initially they may attack it. And then when it hits them or swings at them and it hits and its damage is the equivalent of a first level fighter.
yeah. No,
No.
I'm saying that the damage does need to go up, but effectively too. And this is like how I would play this. I would play this creature. Is I would summon the primeval champion, and it would just be there. Okay, and then for my next turn, I'd basically wild shape into something super small or tiny and hide. Okay, and then I would just hide in that location and just cast all my spells through it. And instead of talking high level, I'm casting, tsunami or whatever, all the other cool druid spells or things that I have access to from this thing. This thing is now casting massive spells and then love tapping the guy in the back of the head.
See, no, okay, I know what I would do with this. I would cast Flame Blade on it.
Yeah, and
There you go. You
this
cast
is this
buff
is
spells on this and make it a threat.
essentially this is nibbles. This is nibbles from our Divinity playthrough
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you use them that way. cast all your spells through him.
I
He
think
is
that's
the
the only way
threat.
to make this playable, or like actual, not playable, but actually good.
Yeah, I will say, like, I wish the spell got better. I'm trying to find the summon companion spells, see if they get.
They don't really. I mean, they all have some little weird ability, but honestly, most of the summon companions are they're not that good.
The Drake Warden, the Drake Companion only gets the one bite too.
Yep.
Where's the spell for the summon?
It's in Tasha's.
Yeah.
There were several new ones that came out in that
All
book.
right. Let's do Summon Beast. Summon Beast gets multi attack. And the beast makes a number of attacks equal to half of this spell's level rounded down. So if you cast it with a level 8 spell, it gets 4 attacks per round.
See, now
Like
that's what I'm talking about.
like that's maybe what needs to happen. I haven't had anyone play a Drake Warden yet
Mhm.
to see if the Drake companion is actually good or bad. You
I've
know?
never had anyone, at least in 5e, and I'm serious, I've never had any of my players play a companion class. Like, none of them. Uh, I've had them do summons occasionally, but never a permanent. Oh, this guy, this creature's running around with me.
Yeah.
Like the closest I ever had to that was the warlock who had a pseudo dragon as a familiar, and it didn't do anything but die a bunch of times, and
I
occasionally get spells cast through it. So
I can kind of see that. Maybe if the companions are bad, just giving them multi attack at higher levels. Just saying they get attacks equal to the caster's level. You know,
yep,
it,
or even just half of your
a
uh
quarter.
proficient. Yeah, like make it like half of your proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
So yeah, at that point, yeah, I don't remember where it hits +3, but it would be a while before they get multi attack, but at least they would get something. And I
Yeah.
I understand they're trying to make this balanced, and they may have played around a lot with the companions and found if they have multi attack, they end up being too good. I'm not part of that process, and I haven't had people play these things. So
I mean, at the
eh,
end of the day, it's another creature that's there. It's another creature giving an attack. So in the game of action economy, it's another threat,
yeah,
and it's a threat that can protect the druid, protect the other fighters that are there on the front line or whoever it's nearby. It eats up space on the battlefield, and then you cast all your spells through it.
yeah. Like I said, I don't think it's horrible. I just think there are much more powerful options for the druid. But all right, moving on. The wizard is a rune crafter, and I like this. I love wizard rune. I love rune casting. I love wizards. So this is right up my alley.
Yeah, I
Uh,
like the flavor of this one a lot. The giant option was kind of like, not really. It's a rune crafter,
yeah,
so
it's
it's
rune
really spot
casting.
on for that. Yeah,
I wish this was. Yeah, I wish rune casting was its complete and own system
yeah,
in D&D, but
like
just
psionics.
yeah, like psionics should be. But whatever, it's something. As far as archetypes go, this one isn't too bad. I have a couple little problems with it that we'll go over. But all right, so second level is the runes of understanding. Your study of runecraft has unlocked the ability to decode runes and languages regardless of their origin. You always have comprehend languages prepared. You can cast it without expending a spell slot, and it does not count against the number of spells you have prepared. So you just get free comprehend languages all the time. Perfect.
Oh, for
Uh,
red.
yeah. The next one, also second level, is Runic Empowerment. When you choose this subclass, you learn how to amplify your magic through the application of various runes. Your knowledge of these runes is stored in your spellbook, though you determine the rune's cosmetic appearance. For example, your runes could be engraved into the cover of your spellbook, glowing whenever you cast a spell, or you could work the shape and meaning of the runes directly into a spell's somatic and verbal components. Fusroda. When you cast a spell using a spell slot, you can invoke one of the following runes. There's three of them. There's Life Rune, War Rune, and Wind Rune. The life rune, when you invoke this rune, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. You can choose yourself. The chosen creature gains temporary hit points equal to 5 times the level of the spell slot expended. Life rune is really good.
Yeah.
It's really really good because you're getting healing as long as you have hit points left. This is the equivalent of healing, and
Hmm.
it's going to be 5 times whatever spell you cast. So if it's first level spell, it's 5 points. It's fifth level spell, you heal something for 25 points.
Yep.
Uh, the War Rune. When you invoke this rune, choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of you. Until the end of your next turn, attack rolls that target the chosen creature gain a bonus equal to half of the level of the spell slot expended, rounded up, minimum of +1. I'm going to come back to that one after I read the Wind Rune because I got problems
Rounded
with War
up.
Rune. Hmm?
Okay.
All right, Wind Rune. When you invoke this rune, your speed increases by a number of feet equal to 5 times the level of the spell slot expended, and your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. This lasts until the start of your next turn. That's fine. It's Expeditious Retreat. I don't even
For
think
free.
that one, yeah, for free. I don't even think that one's going to get used that often unless the wizard really feels like he needs to put some distance between him and the enemy. All right, backing up to War Rune. So when you call on the War Rune, you choose a creature you can see within 30 feet of you until the end of your next turn. Attack rolls that target the chosen creature gain a bonus equal to half the level of the spell slot expended. Rounded up, minimum of +1. Now, the problem I have with this, there's two things. One, 5e has moved heavily away from numeric modifiers, especially when it comes to attack rolls.
Hmm.
And this is giving a numeric modifier on an attack roll.
Hmm.
The other problem I have with this is there's nothing in this UA that explains what happens if you cast 2 spells in a round.
Well, how are you casting 2 spells in a round?
If you have, well, actually, I guess that wouldn't matter because those are cantrips. So
Yeah.
scratch that.
Yeah. Cantrips. It's got to be a leveled spell.
Yeah, yeah, it does have to be a leveled spell. So never mind that. I wasn't
I
thinking of
mean,
the
you
fact that you can
only
only do it with cantrips.
the only time you can do it on on your turn in a round would be like if you're doing if um shit silvery barbs, shield, anything that's on a reaction
Okay.
counterspell.
No, yeah, you're right. No, that actually, so that does cause the problem that I was thinking of. I wasn't thinking of that. So if you cast we'll say a fourth level spell on your turn, so that's a +2 modifier. I actually no, let's just go with a first level spell. So it's
Hmm.
+1 modifier, and then on your turn you cast Silvery Barbs, which is also first level. Do you get a +2 modifier, or do you get just a +1? Does it
Yeah,
over?
is it additive or is it
Yeah. Does it
over does
does it
right?
overlap or does it add to it? They need to figure that out.
Well, I mean, if you want, so the amount of runes you have are limited. It's limited to your proficiency bonus.
Yeah.
So, um, if you want to blow them all on one target, I wouldn't mind because it only lasts for a turn. If you really want to dump
Look
somehow,
it
let's say you cast chromatic sphere and you cast it on an enemy, so that's an attack roll.
mhm,
Okay, and you cast it at level 2. Okay, so you invoke the war rune on it as well too. So now all attack rolls are going to have plus 1 on that creature.
mhm.
And now you're like, I'm going to be shifty and awesome. I'm going to silvery barbs my own spell. I don't know if that's possible. Let's say you can do it. And then, so you silvery barbs is a first level spell. You have to silvery barbs your own chromatic orb.
Yeah.
So you give somebody advantage. You have to reroll the dice. Essentially, you're casting chromatic orb at disadvantage. And let's say it doesn't matter if it hits or not. The bonus level stack. So now, is that bonus now 2 or is it still 1?
Yep.
I don't care whether it's 2 or 1. That's still not as good as just granting advantage to somebody.
Oh,
Now at
absolutely.
higher, super
It
higher levels, maybe. I mean,
Yep.
the best you're going to get is, you know, let's say 9. So it'd be half of that. So it'd be 5, or no, it'd be 4. No,
Yeah. Is
it'd
this
be
the best?
5.
Is this the best usage of War Rune? Absolutely not.
No,
Is it a thing that since in 5e they have damn rules for everything? They need to have that in, in the final version of it. I understand this is UA and they'll have things, but I don't know if anybody even thought about that.
no, they do have additive stuff in 5e, but it's usually tied to a die roll, like Bardic Inspiration. That's an additive effect.
Yeah,
But it's
yeah,
something that's like there for you to add it on to. It's not like how 4th edition was, or like you had multiple modifiers from multiple people and you had to remember them all.
yeah. Like
So,
third edition, second edition, they were all huge. Oh, this guy's on high ground. He gets +1 to his hit. This guy's behind him. That's another +1 to hit. Like
yeah.
there was tons of that stuff in those editions.
So I'm not upset with a class, a specific subclass having a single additive bonus.
I'm
Now,
not upset with it. I'm just
yeah,
saying it's pushing. Yeah, if they start doing a lot of them like that, then that's pushing back towards older editions, which I
right.
personally am happy with. But that's not what they've been trying to do with fifth edition.
I mean, I would just go with just granting advantage, you know,
Yeah, yeah. Or
because that's
roll a d4 or something, or yeah, something.
yeah. I mean, it's not too complicated. I would not, as a DM, remember it. You know, like
Oh
I
God,
tell
no,
my
no.
players at the start is like, I'm going to keep playing the monsters. You have to you have to remind me when your spell effects come up when the monsters are going.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mind you asking me. You know, more often than not. Like that happened this in last AL where we had the cleric girl turn on. So quick aside,
Sure.
they they decided to go through and kick in the door of a Durgar fortress and start beating their way through. One of our younger players is playing a cleric, and she didn't know what to do, and we're all kind of like, "You're surrounded by Durgar, at least 9 to 10 Durgar. Turn on your the AOE spell. I can't remember the name of it
Oh,
right
the
now.
aura of healing or whatever.
No, the one that attacks enemies.
Oh, yeah,
Guardians of Faith.
yeah. That's that's one of them. Uh, Shit. There's the one that you can summon up a weapon and make an attack every turn.
No. That's yeah, that's not the one I'm
Yeah,
talking about. This is an actual spell.
I
Yeah,
think Guardians of Faith is the one where if somebody moves in that area, it makes the attack.
like starts your turn or move in. It moves into the turn
Yeah, yeah.
because it's a pretty high level spell. It's like 3 or 4.
Yeah, but it deals good
Yeah,
damage.
yeah. Guardian of Faith. Yeah, 10 foot radius from her. Every time a hostile creature moves to a space within 10 feet, or they start their turn there, they take radiant damage. It's like 3d8, so it's
Mm.
pretty high. So no, it's not Guardians of Faith. Spirit Guardians. That's what it is.
That's it. Spirit Guardians. Thank you.
Guardians of everything. So, anyways, you have to name like who is not affected by the spell when you cast it. And so the only person that was near her was the bugbear. So she named the bugbear. She didn't name anybody else
Oh no.
within sight.
So everybody
So,
else needs to avoid that area.
and they're in a hallway. They're in the
Oh,
front
even
door.
worse. Oh no.
So the bugbear and the cleric are basically fighting their way through like 10 Duragar, while everyone else is like standing outside going, huh, be cool to be in there. Nah.
I'm not taking that 3d8. Are you taking that 3d8? I'm not taking that 3d8.
But she just ran through with the Spirit Guardians, just killing all the Duragar because she kept rolling like 24 every single time. Uh, and Duragar have 26 hit points, so.
Ah, it's a good spell. No, it's definitely a good spell. All right,
So
so let's get back to this.
I
Finish these
forgot what
up.
I was talking about. War
Oh,
Rune.
Warrune.
So,
I,
like, you can do fun stuff with it, but it doesn't bother me. It should just be advantage. Advantage may actually be too good because
it
advantage is
should be
essentially +5 to an
it
attack.
should be advantage because of how few times you can use this. Uh,
Yeah, I
be-
just feel people wouldn't like.
you can
Just
invoke this,
another thing
like,
that gives advantage.
yeah, you can only use it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus. Uh, like, I don't know if it should be advantage for an entire turn, but advantage on the next attack seems seems legit.
Well, I mean, at best, you're getting 5 of these a day.
Hmm.
Okay, I don't mind that it's on this whole next turn. Everybody has advantage on that target. That's freaking fairy fire.
Yeah. Yep.
You
Now,
know.
well, yeah, but there's no save to this. It's
Yeah,
just
but
you just get
you're
this.
burning a resource still. You got to burn a spell resource, and then you got to burn another resource. So you're burning 2 resources for this to go off. So I'm okay with it in that sense.
Yeah, like it's a balancing act. You know, I understand it. At most, you're going to get a +2 ever out of this, assuming it doesn't stack and you decide to burn multiple uses, like we were talking about. Even then,
Yeah,
if you burn 2 uses, you get a +4, and it's everything, like all attack rolls for a turn, basically. +2 in this edition's pretty damn high because the ACs are pretty damn low.
yeah. They may not have done an advantage thing, maybe just for rogues. You know,
Yeah,
I'll give you advantage, haha.
I mean,
But
it's not hard at all for a rogue to get their sneak attack in this edition. Oh, somebody's standing near it. All right, moving on. Let's get off that.
you gotta just introduce yourself politely. Hi, I'm the rogue. I get sneak attack bonus on you now.
Yep. All
Okay.
right. The sixth level one is Sigils of Warding. You can call on a rune of protection to guard yourself against threats. When you fail a strength, dex, or con save, you can use your reaction to expend 1 use of your runic empowerment and succeed on the saving throw instead. I'm pretty certain that that is actually just a Rune Knight feature. Like, isn't there a thing on the Rune Knight where you can more or less just succeed on a failed save on strength, dex, and con?
Double checking.
Yeah, like I
No,
haven't.
it's Runic Shield is a 7th level Rune Knight feature. You can invoke a rune, and the attacker must reroll a d20 and use the new roll.
Okay, I could just swear there's somebody else, some other class that has this almost exact thing.
Silvery Barbs.
Silvery barbs. All right, the level 10 one is Rune Maven. Your understanding of runecraft has grown immensely. Whenever you use your arcane recovery feature, you also regain a number of your expended uses of runic empowerment. The number of uses you regain can be no more than half your intelligence modifier, rounded up, minimum of 1. Yeah, that's fine. It lets you do more war runing.
More war runing.
And the 14th level one is Engraved Enmity. You have mastered the art of wielding your runes directly against your foes. As bonus action, you can target one creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself. The creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC or be magically marked by an enmity rune. The rune appears as a faintly glowing mode of energy that hovers over the marked creature, which suffers the following effects. Uh, Runecrafter's Bane. The creature has disadvantage on saves made against spells that you cast. That's a big one, by the way. That's
Mm-hmm.
pretty rough. Unveiled Enemy. The radiance of the glowing rune makes the creature visible if it's invisible, and it cannot become invisible while the rune persists. And Woeful Curse. When you mark the creature and as a bonus action on subsequent turns for the duration, you can invoke the rune to curse the creature until the start of your next turn. The next time one of your allies hits the cursed creature with an attack roll, it takes an additional 1d8 force damage and the curse ends. I don't have a problem with those. It does.
I do with curse.
It gets a saving throw to start with, so you have to get this thing to stick on that in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then there's the Runecraft. Yeah, the Runecrafter's Bane, I think, is the biggest one at that point.
Yeah, because Woeful Curse, for some reason, like that's the one you can only do once per long rest. Like, uh,
Oh no, it doesn't end your rune. It just ends the woeful curse.
Yeah, I that this an extra 1d8 force damage at level 14.
Oh yeah, it's that
Ooh.
the woeful curse part is look, it's just an additional thing on there. If this thing said, if it fails the save, the creature has disadvantage on saving throws made against spells you cast. That's enough. Like if it had nothing else, that's acceptable.
I mean,
Uh,
I guess I did read it wrong. It gets all three of those effects,
it
right?
gets all three of the effects.
Yeah, okay. It's okay then.
Like I don't think this is the greatest thing by any means, but I think it's pretty good. I as a spellcaster, just here you got disadvantage,
Old monster.
and let's see. I should finish reading the next page. The enmity rune lasts for 1 minute or until you lose your concentration, as if you were concentrating on a spell. Once you have marked a creature in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of third level or higher to use this feature again. So
There'll be
you
a
could
lot of problems there if they don't clarify you still cast a concentration spell while this
Mhm.
is going.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it does say as if you were concentrating on a spell. They pointed that out. Me as a DM, I'm going to say nope. You're concentrating on that.
Yeah.
If they didn't have that in parentheses like they do, I would agree with you. But that's very pointed. That's the reason for that.
Then it's terrible.
I don't think it's that bad. I probably still. I don't know that I would
Because
ever
all you're
play
gonna
that as
do
a
is
runecraft.
all you're gonna do is basically use your bonus action to put it on there to then cast a hold spell.
Could be, yeah. Seems like
And
a good
that's
use.
useless. Well, anyways, let's go to the feats.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, we're already at an hour. It's gonna be a long one, guys. I had stuff I was going to talk about, but I think we're just gonna cover this tonight.
Nope, it's the Unearthed Giant Arcana.
Hey bro, I heard you like giants.
So I put giants inside of your giants.
All right. The
What's your
element
favorite? What's your favorite football team?
definitely not the giants.
Mine's the Giants. You want to know why?
Why?
Because I'm a Giant. Guess my favorite baseball team?
Also the giants.
No, it's the Raiders.
Oh, wait, that's
You want to
not
know
a
why?
baseball team.
I know.
Why?
Sorry, the White Sox. Sorry.
Why?
I don't know. I have no idea why. I
Oh, okay.
literally have no idea why I like the White Sox. I
You,
don't even
you
like the White Sox. I like the Giants better.
yeah, you know that you know nothing about any sports ball. So
Yeah.
this is all just
But that was the only type of baseball hat that I would let people buy and wear was Giants or the White Sox. But I like the Giants now. You want
yeah,
to know why?
why? Because
Because
you're a
they're
giant?
Giants. Yeah.
Yeah, growing up, I was a St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. Why? Because my dad was a St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan. That's because when he was a kid, the St. Louis Cardinals was the closest team to where we lived, which
Why
was
would you? Why would you pick a small, like, tiny bird as your like sports team mascot?
all right. So elemental touched is the first feat.
Yeah, it looks great.
You've been exposed to the primordial magic of the elemental planes. Blah blah blah. You learned the either druidcraft or thaumaturgy cantrip using intelligence, wisdom, or charisma. Choose when you gain this feat. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can choose which element you are attuned to: earth, air, fire, water, or heart. I'm making that last part up. Depending on your choice, you can use a bonus action to cause one of the following effects:
I mean, to be fair,
air.
if you didn't do it, I was gonna do it.
Air. You gain a fly speed equal to your walking speed until the end of your turn. If you are airborne at the end of your turn after using this movement and aren't held aloft by other means, you fall. I love it. I want to play a grung that has this feat. That way I can leap and then I can fly and then I can fall even farther to my death. Earth, you cause the ground within 30 feet of you to become difficult terrain for 1 minute or until you create this effect again. During that time, you can move across ground that is difficult terrain without expending extra movement.
I really like that one.
That one's really powerful.
Hmm.
That's really, really powerful, especially for a spellcaster. Fire. You surround yourself in a cloud of ash and smoke. Until the end of your turn, your movement doesn't provoke opportunity attacks. That's a really good one also for a lot of different classes. And water. Tsunami! You can create a forceful surge of water directed at a creature within 15 feet of you that you can see. It must succeed on a strength saving throw against a DC equal to 8 plus your modifiers, blah, 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 or be pushed up to 10 feet away from you. The water vanishes immediately after the creature succeeds or fails. Yeah, I'm fine with that one. I think the Earth one is the best, but honestly, I'm pretty good with all of these.
I mean, they all have their uses depending on what you're trying to be. Like if you're trying to be a rogue, honestly, I don't. It would be a toss up between air and fire.
Well,
You know.
if you're a rogue, the odds of you having mobility is reasonably high anyway.
Yeah.
But this is a method of getting mobility for a turn if you do not have the feat.
Yeah. And would this give mobile a run for its money? Maybe not, but like, to be able to fly up to some place and then basically start taking pot shots from somebody from a roof,
Hmm.
that's great.
Yeah, but the fact that like you can create it a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you get them back at a long rest. So these have limitations. The Earth one I still think is the best, just
Oh
because
yeah,
of the you want to go beat up that spellcaster. Well, you're gonna need some extra movement just to reach him.
yeah.
Uh,
If it, I mean, I picture the Earth one working better, you know, as you run in and then you drop it down so no one can get by you as a fighter, you know.
oh yeah,
And but you can
there's a
always
ton of yeah,
misty step away and then cast it so no one can get close to you. But
yeah.
yeah,
Drop this in a hallway, and good luck of the bad guys ever actually reaching you.
well, I mean, it's only 30 feet of difficult terrain, so that's just a
Two
move and
move
a
actions,
dash.
or yeah, that's their whole turn,
Yeah,
and
but
then
now they're
you
right next to you.
do it again.
No, if you do it again, it's still difficult terrain.
Well, you back up after you do it anyway. Moving on, Ember of the Fire Giant, and this we mentioned this right before the podcast. Prerequisite 8th level. So
Yay!
they're adding prerequisites to get some of the feats, and I am very happy about that. I love the old sort of feat trees from third edition. I know we talked about it in a video a while back, or I think it was a video. Or not hell, it might have, yeah, because we were going over a UA for Dragon Lance.
Yeah,
But anyway, you've manifested the fiery combat emblematic of fire giants, granting you the following benefits. You have resistance to fire. When you take the attack action on your turn, you can replace one of your attacks with a magical burst of flame. Each creature of your choice within 15 feet of you that you can see must make a dex saving throw. On a failed save, creature takes fire damage equal to 2d6 plus your proficiency bonus and is blinded until the start of your next turn. On a successful save, they take half with no additional effects. You can use this a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you get all of them back at long rest. Yeah, I'm good with this.
yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, you can't get it too early, and
Shuts the beholder down.
it's a little yeah. It's you're not going to deal really extra damage with this because yeah, by the point you can get this, you're probably dealing 2d6 or more anyway. But it's the fact that this is an AOE and it doesn't take your whole turn. It just takes one attack action to do it.
Well, what I like best about this is that not only is um, it just replaces an attack action, so it could be your first attack action,
Yep.
um, and it uses your con modifier, not like strength or dex or wisdom. Not much uses con, so that's cool. That's using con, and if you're playing a giant race, you're gonna have a lot of con. It doesn't mean like, oh, only strength fighters or strength barbarians can use this, or only dex barbarians or dex fighters can use this. It's con, and con is usually always relatively high. You
It's
know,
typically your second stat when you
yeah.
play. Yeah.
And then there's blind. So if you use your first attack action to make everybody blind, and then your extra attacks still trigger. I mean, that's why they had a nerfed shield mastery because everyone just kept getting knocked prone, and now the fighter had advantage on every single attack. You know, so
Well,
now that it's blinded,
yeah. Now
now
that
you
it's
get
now that it's blinded, it's rolling straight against you since you're reckless.
yeah, that's true.
but it doesn't have advantage anymore.
I was thinking more from the fighter standpoint as I normally do, but so like it's them hit me is gonna be near impossible, and I get advantage in hitting them because they can't see me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they have to fail the save, but it's
It's
pretty
it's
it's good.
it's not that easy of a save to make. I mean, it's Dex, but a lot of things don't have good dexes that I want blind.
Most
Um,
things, the majority of things in melee are going to have at least a reasonable dex. A lot of
not
times,
dragons,
yeah, I
not
say,
anything big.
yeah, dragons will not, like ogres, trolls. Well, trolls, I don't know if they do, but ogres, I know don't. Think there's a number of things that'll have you know, crap decks, but at the very least, most of that stuff is going to roll straight, not have negatives.
I mean, Beholder doesn't. It only gets a +2.
I mean, most things only get a +2 or less.
Right, but when you're looking at your proficiency bonus and your con, which is going to be a +2 or +3, you have the upper hand in this role. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you would. Like most of the time, the DC for this at 8th level is going to be a 14 or a 15.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you're right.
Fury of the Frost Giant requires prerequisite of 4th level. You've manifested the icy might emblematic frost giants, granting you the following benefits. You get resistance to cold. When a creature hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to retaliate with a burst of magical ire. Not fire, but ire. You glare at them horribly, I guess. The creature must succeed on a wisdom save, DC's 8 plus prof plus constitution, or be frightened of you until the start of its next turn. You can use your reaction in this way a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. I don't see anyone particularly taking this other than for the cold resistance.
No, one thing I was really thinking of is all the elemental giants should all be level 8, do damage of some kind, and have this follow on rider effect to them. So if they took 2d6 and were frightened, that would work out really well, I think.
Yeah.
Because then you're just picking it for flavor. Yes, blind may be better. Frightened is just as good, especially if it hits. Um,
Yeah, but the problem with the frightened thing is it's used as a reaction. So you have to be hit first. And it only, let's see, and it lasts until the start of it, or be frightened of you until the start of its next turn. So if this thing has 2 attacks around, you're basically just shutting down 1 attack because that first attack's already hit you.
yeah, it should definitely be the end of its next turn, not start.
Yeah.
That would make it better. I mean, as a tank, they're not going to be able to go past you. They can't come closer to you,
Yeah.
but they're already very close to you. So,
Yeah, like I don't, you know, it's not a it's not a terrible feat, but it's like I said, I think most people just want it for the cold resistance. Uh, moving on. All right, next one up is Guile of the Cloud Giant, prerequisite 8th level. You've manifested the airy speech and magic emblematic of cloud giants, granting you the following benefits. Misty form. You can cast the blur spell without using a spell slot or material components. When you cast the spell in this way, it does not require you to maintain concentration on it. Once you cast the spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast the spell in the normal way using spell slots you have of the appropriate level. Intelligence, Wisdom, or Charisma is a spellcasting ability for it. And you also gain Silver Tongue, which gives you proficiency in either Deception or Persuasion, and your proficiency bonus is doubled for any ability check you use making this skill. Uh, if I'm a sorcerer, I take this. This is like just made for sorcerers. Be really good for Bard also. Anybody that's going to get uh, or use deception or persuasion seems like it'd be useful. And just being able to cast blur without having to maintain it is really good.
Yeah, blurred. I'm Silver Tongue is Silver Tongue. It's good.
Yeah.
Misty Form. This is level 8, mind you. Misty Form. Casting Blur once per long rest, or using your spell slots to cast it again, is meaningless to me because, again, fighter barbarian, only get one use of it. I don't get extra spells. I kind of it's a second level spell. I don't know why I can't cast this equal to like one half of my proficiency bonus.
You mean a number of times that way?
Yeah, yeah. Because otherwise, this is only going to be used by spellcasters and not by melee in any capacity.
Uh, yeah. Uh, Cloud giants are spellcasters. That's sort of the thought of this.
I mean, fair enough. I mean, that's what they were going for, but at that point in time, then why isn't Frost Giant a little bit more, you know,
More frost
they
giant?
kind
Yeah.
more Frost Giant-y? Why isn't there some ice damage in there or something like that?
No, yep. The frost giant one is not particularly good.
I
Uh,
mean, this is pretty much the Yeti ability, just dialed down.
yeah. Yeah. Moving on. Hidden keenness of the stone giant. Prerequisite fourth
Stone
level.
Giants aren't keen.
I don't know. You manifested the protection and spellcasting emblematic of stone giants, granting you the follower's benefits. Dreamer's magic. You learn the detect thought spell and one first level spell of your choice. The first level spell must be from abjuration or divination schools of magic. You can cast each of these spells without expending a spell slot. Once you cast either in this way, you can't do it again until you finish a long rest. You can also cast them using spell slots you have of the appropriate level, intelligence, wisdom, charisma, modifier, blah, blah, blah. It also gives you mountain sight. You gain dark vision out to a range of 60 feet. If you already have dark vision from another source, its range increases by 30. Yeah, it's not amazing by any means, but it is stone giant. Like it does feel like stone giant. So
Yeah, I guess. I don't know a Stone Giant that has detect thoughts or cast spells.
it if you go back, which book was it? Volos? I think Volos was the one that had a lot of stuff on the different types of giants. And
Yeah,
they do a lot of dream magic. Like that is just sort of their thing. Divination magic is very heavy in stone giant culture.
yeah. I just
It's not what you want. You want like big smashy giant.
no,
But
no, no, no. I'm just saying if you want to double down on the whole idea that Stone Giants are all about like this rock world is our world, that's a dream world. We're going out there and nothing is real. And kind of double down on the whole dream aspect of things, then give us some fucking dream related fucking magic, not detect thoughts and a first level spell slot of my own. That's
not
cool.
there's
It's
not
it's
much dream related magic. There's the spell dream, and that's about it.
then give us dream.
No, that's a high level spell.
It's a fifth level spell.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's not like it's gonna be used all the time in every place. And all it is a communication thing, anyways.
Yeah.
You know. So give them dream.
They would
Make instead of making it fourth level, make it eighth level, and give them dream.
they would never do. I mean, you would have access to it before you could even cast it if it was 8th level.
Don't give them dream with a blue veil, because that would just ruin everything. That's a plane hopping
Yeah,
spell.
I know what that one is. We've talked about that one a couple of times on here.
I don't know. It double down on the dream stuff, double down on the dream stuff, or give them the rock smashing big bag thing.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
you get 3 spells. You get
Yeah,
detect.
it's really good, but it has nothing to do with stone giants.
So the next one they have is outsized might. You have absorbed primeval magic that allows you, despite your relatively small stature, to embody the might of titanic creatures. This grants you the following benefits: little but mighty. You gain proficiency in either the athletics or acrobatics skill. Powerful build. You count as one size larger when determining your carrying capacity and the amount you can push, drag, or lift. Stalwart. You have advantage on saving throws against being moved or knocked prone. There's
So,
no.
quick question
Yeah,
about this. If I already have powerful build, does this is this an additive effect to my powerful build, or is this negate itself and just you just have powerful build once?
I mean, me as a DM, I would say yes, but yeah, that is something they need to put in there for sure.
So, in your case, Thaladred, who already has powerful build because he's Goliath in 5th edition,
Mhm.
uh, counts as a large creature for pushing, pulling, and dragging, lifting. Now he counts as a huge creature.
It says you count as one size larger when determining. Actually, uh, and I'm guessing the other one, the other version of Powerful Build reads the exact same way.
Exact same way, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Honestly, they probably would not stack because of how it sounds. But
I mean, if you're a Goliath, you're not taking this. I mean, just to be
yeah,
fair, you already have athletics.
yeah,
Goliaths don't
yeah,
care about acrobatics.
yep.
Uh,
You might take it for stalwart, but I wouldn't, because that's if you already have powerful build and a little bit mighty. The advantage on saving throws against being moved or knocked prone is nice. Not worth a feat slot.
there was
I would.
one. There was something in here where basically you got you could do a save every time you were knocked prone or pushed, and you could just negate that effect. Maybe it's in the Rune Carver. Yeah, it's in Vigor of the Hill Giants.
No, okay.
Uh,
We'll get. Yeah, that's the very last
yeah,
one. We'll get there shortly.
yeah.
Uh, Next one is Rune Carver Apprentice. You've been studying the art of runecraft, which allows you to temporarily mark your items and imbue them with magic. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can mark one non magical weapon, armor, piece of clothing, or other object you can touch with a rune of your choice. You temporarily learn one first level spell based on the rune you choose, as specified in the rune spells table, and you know the spell until you finish a long rest when the rune fades. I'm not going to go through the whole spell list.
I mean,
While
it's
you
not that long.
Well, let me read the rest of this.
Okay.
While you are wearing or carrying the rune marked object, you can cast the chosen spell associated with the rune once without using a spell slot or material components, and you can also cast it using any spell slot you have. And like it's a lot of different first level spells. Uh, False Life, Fog Cloud, Ray of Sickness, Chromatic Orb, Bane, Burning Hands, Bless, Armor of Agathis, Goodberry, Long Strider, Command, Guiding Bolt, Cure Wounds, Jump Shield, Sanctuary, Thunderwave, Heroism, and Featherfall. So it just lets you do one of these for free.
Which is cool. I do like it. Again, it definitely favors casters already there. You know,
One thing I will point out though, this is actually good for a wizard or sorcerer, uh, because of the simple fact it says, where was it? You can cast the chosen spell associated with the rune once without using a spell slot or material opponents, and you can also cast the spell using any spell slots you have, which effectively means if you take Cure Wounds,
yeah,
as a sorcerer or wizard, you now have Cure Wounds. So
yep. So it's really cool. Again, fighters, caster. It doesn't really favor fighters or rogues. You have to have spell slots. If you're a paladin, it would be kind of cool. But
yeah.
but the cool part is it levels up. What happens at level 4?
Uh, at level 4, you could take Rune Carver Adept, which requires 4th level and the Rune Carver Apprentice feat. Your skill with the art of runecraft has increased. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can now mark a number of objects equal to your proficiency bonus with a rune from the Rune Carver Apprentice feat. An object can only have one rune at a time, and you must inscribe a different rune on each object.
Really
So,
like this.
yeah, like this is a thing where you could take this. Yeah, at 20th level, you'd have 5 feats, and you could take every single one of them as Rune Carver Apprentice, except for 4th level where you take Rune Carver Adept. which gives you access to 4 of these spells and that you can then just cast via one of them. Let's see, how many things can you have rune marked? I need to read that again.
What's per proficiency bonus?
Yeah, well, no, yeah, there's that, but a non-magical weapon, armor, piece of clothing, or other objects. So you could have, up to your maximum. In this case, you could have 4 things rune marked. Which,
Yeah.
yeah, that gives you the ability to cast 4 of these spells, and all 4 of these spells go into your spell list.
Yep.
Now, mind you, these are first level spells, but some of them are just always still useful.
Yep.
Bless is always useful. Cure wounds is always useful. Armor of Agathis is pretty damn good. Featherfall is always useful. Shield is second best spell in the whole game.
Yeah. Again, it favors a caster and not like
Absolutely. Yeah.
any non-caster. But if I'm playing a paladin, I'm picking this up.
Yeah, yeah, I see no reason not to. Paladin or Ranger. Like, this benefits them heavily.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't necessarily need to take the cure wounds, but there's other stuff you'd have access to.
Yeah. Chromatic orb.
Yep.
Orb.
Featherfall,
Orb.
shield. All right.
No.
Yeah.
Orb.
Soul of the
Chromatic
storm.
orb.
Soul of the storm giant. Prerequisite 8th level. You've manifested divination abilities and tempest magic emblematic storm giants, granting you the following benefits. Maelstrom aura. As a bonus action, you surround yourself in an aura of magical wind and lightning that extends 10 feet from you in every direction, but not through total cover. The aura lasts for 1 minute or until you're incapacitated. While it is active, attack rolls against you have disadvantage. Whenever a creature starts its turn within the sphere, you can force the creature's speed to be halved until the start of its next turn. Once you use this bonus action, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest.
That's cool.
You also get Storm's Oracle. You can cast the divination spell as a ritual without needing material components. Intelligence, wisdom, or charisma is your spellcasting ability. You get it back on a long rest. The whatever divination, meh.
I'm sorry.
But
What about that? That fifth level is too high of a spell to have dream, but fourth is fine for divination.
hey, look, I don't think divination's a good spell. I don't. Yeah, the other one also gave you 3 spells. This one gives you 1 that's not ever going to get
Mm.
used. Maelstrom's aura is very good. I would take this as a barbarian in a freaking heartbeat because you activate this aura, it lasts for an entire minute, and while it's active, just disadvantage on everything it's trying to hit you. Uh, it also, if somebody wants to run away from you, they can't do as they can only move half speed.
Yeah.
Personally, I probably would not take this in general, but if I was going to fighter or barbarian, or honestly any tanking class would benefit from it. All
Yeah.
right. The last one, Vigor of the Hill Giant. Prerequisite of 4th level. Uh, you've manifested the resilience emblematic of hill giants, granting you the following benefits. You get to talk like a hillbilly because you're a hill giant.
That's the verbiage.
Yeah. Oh, hey, that's right. Bulwark. When you are subjected to an effect that would move you at least 5 feet or knock you prone, you can use your reaction to steady yourself. You are then neither moved nor knocked prone. Okay. And then you also get Hardy Health. When you are subjected to a spell that restores your hit points, you can regain additional hit points equal to your con modifier. You can regain these additional hit points a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Eh. There's way better feats.
Well, you would compare this to tough. Okay. Let me get the verbiage up for tough here.
Yeah. Well, tough gives
So
you additional hit points.
so tough gives you additional hit points, equal to twice your level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a level thereafter, your hit point maximum is increased by 2 hit points.
Yep.
So it's a lot of extra hit points. Uh, so if you have tough and you have this, you have huge health pool, and especially when you get healing, you're coming back with a lot more hit points. The
Yeah.
question is like, do you prefer to have be brought up and have more hit points, or do you uh, prefer to basically never be able to go down? Now you want to never be able to go down, but it's going to happen. When you play the one body game, you kind of almost want this more than you want tough.
If you're playing the one body game, gaining those additional hit points is probably not going to make that much of a difference. You're going to gain what? If you have an 18 Constitution, you get 4 extra hit points every time you get healed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not horrible. The fact that you're getting 2 things, this isn't a terrible feat. I just think there's way better feats out there. Like nearly every other one of the giants ones. Maybe not the stone giant one, but I would take the frost giant one over that one.
Really? I would never use a frost giant one. I would use the hill giant more. Again, from my perspective,
resistance to cold damage.
I already have it. I'm Goliath.
Oh well, okay. If you play a Goliath, then sure. If you play literally any other race out there, then you take that over Vigor of the Hill Giant.
Granted, there's no resistance. You just can't get knocked prone. You know.
Yeah, it's you use your reaction to say no, I can't be moved or knocked down, which is nice. But
which is what dwarfs could do actually in 4th edition.
But how often is that a thing?
It depends on how the DM does a lot of strategy. If you're playing like and I always forget to do this, like monsters are more than just their stat block. And this is actually what I wanted to talk about this week until this came out. So like when I had that scenario with all the 9 Duragar, they're just all making hits against everybody, and they're just kind of chunking through. It's very basic. Mm-hmm. Now, I should have been taking some of those Duragar and knocking people prone, as their range.
Do they have an ability to do that?
Monsters still get the basic abilities.
Knocking somebody prone is not an ability.
You can use your action to make a push action.
Push is not knocking somebody prone.
You can, when you push somebody, you can either push them back 5 feet or push them prone.
I don't think that's the case.
It is.
If you have superiority dice.
No. It's just a thing you can do.
I have to find
Anyways.
Yeah, well, that's important. I don't think.
I'll be quiet.
Shoving a creature. No, I'm going to read it. I just found it. Shoving a creature using the attack action. You can make a special melee attack to shove a creature, either to knock it prone or push it away from you. Okay, so you apparently are correct on this. I have never seen that.
I mean, it's part of the shield master thing. Is like you can do your attack, and then as a bonus action, you could use your shield to make it a shove attack.
Yeah. But I always thought that was just part of that thing.
No, it's part of shove. So I should be shoving a player down and then having the rest of the Duragar pound on them when there's 9. Like, that's just playing smarter. And I always forget to do that because I have 9 Duragar at the table and I'm not thinking clearly, and I always forget to do it. And I need to be a better DM and start having more varied tactics with that. And so that's one thing I could do to be better. So to answer your question, if you're playing with a good DM, and obviously in my example here I'm not, it should be happening all the time.
Yeah.
Well, the Duragar should run up to the caster and shove them right to the ground.
Yeah. Now that I know that, this makes it way better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, if the DM's not doing it, then it's useless. And then a lot of that comes to learning how the DM plays and kind of playing against them.
I'm sorry for my players because now I know this.
Haha.
No, this past weekend when I ran, that was the first time I'd used anything in forever that actually had that ability to knock down people. The ogre. I don't remember the exact name of them. Basically, ogres with chains that you could. They had an AOE attack. I think it was an AOE attack to everybody
ogre
around
with chain?
them. Yeah, it's from Mordenkainen's.
Kunai with chain?
No, it's an ogre that has a chain. I don't know what a kunai is a weapon.
Kunai with chain.
Anyway.
So yeah, I mean, monsters can do all the attack actions that are available to players.
Yeah, that was
Everyone
never
forgets.
that was never a question. I just never knew the prone part was that on there.
Yeah. That's why I miss charge. I wish everyone still had charge.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I don't know how charge worked in 4th edition. It was different in
Charge,
3rd.
it was actually super simple. You charge at an enemy, okay? I think you needed 20 feet or 10 feet. I can't remember which. And then you either got +1 to the attack or +1 damage.
That's it?
Yeah.
All right.
But sorry. Let me expand it. Well, I always forget. You could use your move, okay? And then when you charge, you did your move again, and then made a melee attack at the end. And it had to be at least 10 or 20 feet. I can't remember which in a straight line.
Okay. Yeah, for 3rd edition, character must move before blah, blah, blah. The character must move at least 10 feet and may move up to double base speed. All movement must be in a straight line. No backing up allowed. After moving, the character may make a single melee attack or a bull rush, which I'm not even going to look that up. Character gets +2 to the attack roll, but they also get -2 penalty to their AC for 1 round. And then there were you primarily wanted to do that with lances because then they got a lot of damage.
Yeah. But there's no charge in 5th edition, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, yeah.
I think they want to eliminate you getting double move and a free attack.
Probably so, but I always thought you should be able to. I liked it in 3rd edition, and that was the thing about that as well. In 3rd edition, if you moved, you only got 1 attack. So that it was referred to, I think, as a standard action, and then there's full attack action, which is where you got all of your attacks. But you had to be standing still for that.
Sounds terrible.
Nah, it was wonderful. We're probably going back to 3rd edition.
Uh-huh.
I've been talking about it. I know Johnny has been talking about it a lot lately. We both have.
Yeah, well, I think I have something. We'll probably talk about it next podcast that you should go to.
All right. Well, you could tell me all about that next podcast.
Yep.
Hope everybody enjoyed listening to us go over this UA.
Overall, what do you think? I know we're running late, but overall, what did you think?
Honestly, as far as UAs go, this one is one of the better ones I've seen. There's less broken stuff in here. There's less issues. I don't think Panda would freak out from reading this. Like, he wouldn't have a complete conniption fit going over this one. So at least there's that. I think there's some decent stuff in here.
Yeah.
It's not really, most of it's not my cup of tea, however. But for you, it's right up your alley.
Yep, it definitely was up my alley, and I liked a lot of it. So.
Yep.
I'm very happy with it. I think like it's just another Rune Knight, kind of it fits all together. I was thinking about this too, is that maybe they're going to add this stuff into like a primordial book. That was kind of mentioned a couple times.
Yeah, so we'll see this. We'll see this thing again in 2 years.
So an elemental planes book, like a source book for the elemental planes. That might be in that.
When the hell are they ever going to release that?
4th edition.
Bye, guys.
Hey, hold on. Actually, one final extra thing.
I'm probably cutting it right there. Just so you know.
You better not, because this is a very specific message to my wife. Thank you very much for getting me the 1 pound of Swedish fish that you got me. I'm probably going to die if I eat the whole bag tonight. You get inspiration if you actually listen to this podcast and mention this in our next game.
I'm southbound and down. All my rolls are crits. It's time for me to hit the bricks.